And welcome to the Mental Health Hour. I am Derek, joined as always by my beautiful co host, Kat Daniels.
Hola.
How are you today, my love?
It's been a Monday so far.
Hold on one second.
So, okay. I hear an echo. I.
All right, sorry about that. My monitor was turned up for some reason
Yeah, I heard an echo. I was
on
like,
my watch TV. So, how's everything going for you?
I'm alive. I have
Why do
all
you why
limbs.
do you why do you say it with such fervor?
Because I'm alive and I have all my limbs. That's how things are going. No, I mean, we were talking a second ago. My dogs rolled around in something dead because I could smell it on them this morning, and it was awful. So I've already had to give them a bath. So now my entire house is wet because they're dogs and they shake when they get baths. Oh, and neither one of them like to get baths. So my 50-pound Catahoula, I had to pick up and carry into the bath. And she sprayed her anal glands while I did that because that's what she does when is scared. And then just e-learning. This is the second week of e-learning for us. I'm dying inside as I'm sitting there listening to my 7-year-old go to class, basically.
Why?
Because, yeah, she has to be at a different Google Meets every half hour, basically. And
It's about right.
yeah. And if it's not a Google Meet, then she's allowed to do like self-study or whatever, sort of. But that's only happened once so far today. And the assignment that she was supposed to do wasn't posted, and the teacher couldn't figure out how to post it. And so we didn't do it until like 5 minutes ago, because she finally figured out how to post it. And I just don't understand why they can't just post all of the assignments at the beginning of the week, honestly, and be like, okay, I'm going to be in this Google Meet from like 2 to 3. If you need help, come in here. We'll work on, math on Monday if you need help, language arts on Tuesday if you need help, social studies and science on Thursday. And that way, if anybody doesn't need help doing the assignment or doesn't have a question, then they don't go and they just do their work, and then they get off early because they can. Or if you do need help and you do need special attention, you have a smaller class size in these Google Meets and you get the attention that you need. And so I'm apparently now I have to write an email to the Board of Education up here in order to try to get that changed, because like even trying to make sure, if you give a 7-year-old, if you're like, hey, let's all sit in front of a computer for 30 minutes and you do nothing while the teacher talks,
I have a
they're
10
not
year
going to pay
old.
attention.
Well, no, my 10-year-old, Izzy is all about it.
Mhm.
She's enjoying it.
Yeah.
They post the assignment at 7:45 every morning, and to be on their Google Meet at 7:45,
Hmm.
and they kind of do their homeroom thing, and then they throughout the day have specials and whatever else like that. And it's and my her teacher has it on lock and key. I'm not having to do pretty much anything. All I do is check in on her every once in a while, make sure she's staying on task, and she's fine.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, my 7-year-old cannot stay on task. She doesn't even like. There have been a couple of times apparently because I'll be in and out every 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or so just to check on her. And her teacher will tell her to like get out paper and pencil, and I'll walk in and she won't come to me and ask for paper and pencil until I walk in. And when I hear that the teacher is doing something that they need paper for, she'll be like, oh, well, I didn't know where you were. Or when she knows I'm in the next room, like she could just holler and say, hey, I don't know where my pencil is, or I don't know where my paper is.
Sounds like you haven't been a very good parent teaching her
Fuck
self
off.
independence.
She's my most independent one.
I'm kidding. God damn it.
She is my most independent one. No, my son, who's almost 14, he's killing it, killing it. He worked ahead last week. Like he's killing it.
See,
But
you did
also,
right there.
yeah, right. I did something, I guess. But also, half of their stuff, like my son had to log into something for an assignment today. He doesn't have access to it. They never gave him a login. They didn't tell him a link to even go to. They were just like, log into your thing. And there was supposed to be, I would have assumed that if the teacher was going to be like, hey, log into your study, whatever this thing is, it would have been on their class links, but it wasn't. So he can't do that part of the assignment until she emails him back.
Aw.
Anyway,
Aw.
I'm not going to use this whole hour to bitch. I ran away last weekend, though, because the first week of e-learning was super not fun, and had a really great weekend by myself. I went to Front Royal, Virginia,
I know where Front Royal
which was
is.
amazing.
It's beautiful out there. Very mountainous.
Yes. I got to go hiking in the rain. I made a TikTok, but I don't think it got posted because I had no signal. But I'm going to post it later, I guess, whenever I figure out my children's school. So I went hiking in the rain, and I stayed at a bed and breakfast that was amazing. And they were so sweet, of course. And it was called Mountain Home, which is so nice. And I went to it's called Mystic. I want to say the store is called Mystic Mountain, and I got a new Oracle deck, which I'm super excited for. I like this one a lot. And and I found, have you ever had mead?
Yes. Oh, well, I've never had it, but I know of it. Yes.
Right. Oh, but you've never had it?
No, and I have no
Okay.
desire to drink it
Why?
because it's not good beer.
Not good beer? Is that what it is? Okay, well, so apparently mead has a reputation for not being very good, as you said.
It is not.
However, okay, I found a place that actually makes really good mead. And I went back there 3 times in one day because it was so freaking good.
That's an oxymoron.
No,
Really good mead does not exist.
I'm going to buy you a bottle now, and you're going to have to taste it. But
Right, if you're gonna make me taste it, you got to buy me a 12-pack of Oktoberfest as well.
no,
No, yeah. If you're gonna make me
No.
drink something bad, you got to give me something good to support it.
it's not bad though. So no, it's super amazing. So I went there and I had a tasting, and I did like four different flavors, and every single one of them was delicious. No lie. No lie.
Well, you're more of a wine drinker anyway, so that's why you probably like the mead.
Why? I don't understand that.
It's really yeasty.
Oh. But isn't there yeast in beer?
Yeah, but the mead is more yeasty.
I don't know what that means. Do you taste yeast?
I don't. Yeah, you can taste
Yeah.
it. Of course, you can taste yeast.
Well, I'm not a huge alcohol drinker anyway. The alcohol I drink is generally hard alcohol.
Yeah.
So I don't do beer or bitch beer or any of that. So.
Well, if you wanna, like I said, if you wanna make me drink mead, you gotta give me a 12-pack of Oktoberfest.
I'm not. No, because this is amazing and you're going to love it. And you can order it online. Y'all can have it shipped to your house.
Are they a sponsor? Or are they paying you?
No, but they should. He offered. Because I went back, because I did the tasting, and then I went back and I bought a bottle that I gifted to the Airbnb owners. And then I went back and had another drink before with my dinner. I went and ordered dinner next door and came back, and he let me eat there. And he was super nice. And he was the owner, and he owns a couple different locations and has it distributed. But that's the only tasting room is in Front Royal, Virginia, which also was very lovely.
Aw.
It was a fun weekend. I had fun.
It sounds like it was. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you had that experience.
Me too. I went to a couple different wineries too, but the one that was my favorite that I would advertise here, just without even being asked, they're closing down, they told me, which made me super sad because they were the best one.
Aw.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the pandemic's been doing that to a lot of places.
Well, it's not the pandemic for them. They just chose to. They just said, "Oh, it's time for us to retire and go travel." So they're probably going to go to Italy or some crap.
Mm, gotcha.
Yeah.
So,
So how was your weekend?
it was pretty decent. Saturday was a veg day.
Yeah.
Didn't really do much. Just kind of laid in bed, watched movies and TV.
Mhm.
Um, Christina made these bomb ass um, Philly cheesesteaks for dinner.
Mm. Man, I want a Philly cheesesteak for lunch now.
Oh, so good.
Mm.
Um, with ribeye meat. Oh, god, it was so good.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sounds yummy.
And then yesterday we did some laundry. I did some work, getting ready for the week. I got a busy week ahead of me as far as the show goes.
Yeah.
I got some really cool guests coming on, so I did everything yesterday and got everything ready, and it was did some laundry. It was a pretty good day, pretty good weekend.
When did you hear about the list?
Like
How'd you find out about that?
midnight this morning.
Oh, yeah?
It was a little after midnight, yeah.
Nice. Did they send it to you and let you know or what?
Yes and yes. I found it first, and then I got a text message to me
How did you find it?
because number one on the list is one of the PR people I work with, and he posted it. I clicked it and I read it and I saw it, and then he or she ended up texting me.
Number one, huh? Can you not talk about the list?
I could talk about the list.
Well, tell people about the list. It's a kind of a big deal, brah.
So the New York Weekly Times
Mhm.
released their top 25 global podcasts yesterday or this morning,
Mhm.
and Suck It Podcast was number 25, right below Oprah.
Yes. Oprah's Book Club.
Yes, so
Recommendations.
I'm number, according to this list by the editor of New York Weekly Times, I am the 25 25th podcast, number 25 podcast in the entire world, according to him.
Hmm.
I'm
Kind of a big deal.
not gonna brag or anything.
No, of course not. No,
I
you can
won't.
brag on that one. It's okay.
I'll brag, tonight on the actual show.
Right.
But this is the mental health hour. We're not supposed to, that kind of stuff. I mean, it helps my mental health, and it's really cool to, think about it.
Yeah.
But as far as like, um, it's not like, yeah, I'm, let's see what it does for me though.
Let's hope.
Yeah, no, right.
Yep.
So September
Yep.
is a pretty important month for mental health.
It is.
It is Suicide Prevention Month.
Yep.
Um, and that's on a national level. And then last Wednesday or Tuesday, I can't remember which day it was World Suicide Prevention Day.
Mm.
So in honor of that, I figured we would talk suicide today.
Okay.
So this is gonna get kind of deep.
Yeah.
So, the first thing I wanted to do is
Hmm.
this. Um, I had it up and then I lost it.
Uh-oh.
So just give me one second here. Um, is talk about the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, or Lifeline is what they call it.
Right.
And that's 1-800-273-TALK or 1-800-273-8255. So please, if you know anybody, or or if you're feeling in any which way, shape, or form, that kind of stuff, please don't hesitate to reach out to them. It's all anonymous. Um, they're there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and it is not something to take lightly. Even if you're just having a stressful day and you just need someone to talk to, they're there.
Mm.
So, and it's now scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
There you go.
Um,
Fixed it.
it's it's very very important. So yeah, don't hesitate to call them.
Yeah.
It is
There's
a yeah. Go ahead.
my brother, I wish I had his card on me and maybe I can find the link. But my brother owns a suicide prevention nonprofit for specifically for veterans, though. And there are specific signs too that someone that you know may be thinking about suicide. And it's like a checklist almost of things that you can look out for in people that you love. Um, if you want to, I can, let me try it. Let me see if I can find that so I can at least read it off. Give me just a minute. Um, but I mean, in the meantime,
Yeah, but also with that, you can also call the Trevor Project if you are LGBTQ,
mhm,
which is a fantastic organization that Kat and I both support deeply on this channel. We started that back in June with LGBTQ Pride Month. I'm gonna go ahead and put that in this scroll as well.
okay.
Um, but
Operation Hemingway is the one for veterans. Sorry. I will find the list. Here we go. So the warning signs are you may hear anybody that you know or love talk about being a burden to others or feeling trapped, having unbearable pain, having no reason to live, and of course, killing themselves. And then the changes in behavior that you might notice are increased use of alcohol or drugs, aggressive behavior, researching suicide. I guess if you can go into their history of any way, shape or form. If you have a kid, that might be something that you can look for. If they're acting recklessly lately, or more so than normal, they may also be withdrawing from activities and isolating themselves away from family and friends. They might start sleeping too much or too little, even saying goodbye to family and friends. You know, sometimes people can say it in a way that's more impactful or that feels like heavier than normal. And giving away their possessions is another one. If you know anyone who maybe start giving away their possessions, you know, something that you know that they cherish and care about, that's a big red flag.
oh, huge.
Yeah.
And then something that I learned because of my daughter, thankfully, was if you notice, hypothetically speaking, say for instance your son or daughter or whatever, the week prior they're talking about their college plans, they're talking about what they want to do when they grow up, and all this other stuff, and all of a sudden a week later they're suicidal. You know, that might just be a cry for help. Because one of the key indicators of whether or not somebody is truly suicidal is future plans. Um, so make sure you look for that warning sign as well. Because if they're talking about their future plans and all of a sudden stop, um, that could be a key indicator as well. So, but at the same time, it also could just be something that they're needing help with. Um,
Yeah.
so just be cautious of that as well. So
There's also, I wanted to mention the Veterans Suicide Hotline, which you can actually text 838-255, or if you prefer and are more comfortable to call, you can do that too at 1-800-273-8255 if you're a veteran or know of a veteran that may need that number. I
well,
don't know how long you can make this thing, but
well, no, you just gave out the same number, 800-273-8255.
oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's the same
Oh
number.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. And then the text, do you have the text one?
You can also text. I didn't pull it back up. Yeah, because you can also just Google suicide prevention hotline. You can also do a web chat and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. So, you wanted to mention something else?
So what I did this morning and until last night um, is I pulled up some stories of suicide
Mm.
written by loved ones, by family, friends, of people who have lost. Okay. And I'll also go, I also have some stories from people who have survived suicide attempts as well. But This one really kind of stood out to me, um, because it's one of those you just never know type situations. So I'm gonna go ahead and read this story, um, and it's a doozy. So just kind of prepare to be But
Trigger
anyway,
warning.
all right. So it's called A Brief History of Our Son. Our son was a happy child. His problems occurred when he was 18 to 30 years of age due to broken relationships and termination of pregnancies with his partner. He turned to drug use, got in trouble with the law, and disappeared for 2 years until we found him. He became an alcoholic and could not hold down a job, so we took him under our care and he lived with us for 12 years. We helped him with his own accommodation as he wanted to be independent, but he also was getting into financial difficulty and trouble with the police. We were always there to bail him out and help him financially. We lost a lot of friends and family as I could not understand why we kept helping him. He hit rock bottom so many times, but we knew we had to help him. He stopped taking drugs when he was around 27, but started going into a deep depression and was drinking heavily. Our son was admitted to a hospital where he was kept overnight. After being assessed, though, the mental health system, they said that there was nothing wrong with him mentally and he needed to sober up and send him home. Numerous doctors prescribed him antidepressants. In 2011, one doctor diagnosed him as bipolar and gave him medication, which made him feel sick. So our son stopped taking them. We could see he was going through mood swings and was not himself anymore. We had seen him when he had problems in drug alcohol abuse, but this was different. Our local practitioner prescribed him antidepressant medication, and he seemed much happier. We decided we decided he would come to work with us. We would pick him up there where he was living, take him home to work with us. He managed We managed his wage as he was not doing a very good budgeting on his with his spending, and we had to pick up the shortfall. I would cook him meals. Hold on. I would cook him meals. Oh shit! Damn it! I would cook him meals to make sure that he was eating well and leaving a small amount of cash for his cigarettes. Otherwise, he would buy alcohol. Dad would go and pick him up his prescriptions to make sure that he had enough medication. One day, after our son had been drinking and fighting with his girlfriend, Dad found him at work where he had tried to hang himself. Our son had sent text messages to friends and family saying he was going to kill himself. Dad had to climb 30 feet up a brick wall to get our son down. He was admitted to the hospital and placed under guard for a week. We spoke to the hospital psychiatrist who said our son had told her he did not want to be on this earth and he would try again. When we spoke to our son, he had a blank look on his face. He could not give us an answer and stared at the ceiling at the time. During this time in the hospital, we asked to see our doctor, but no one spoke to us or contacted us as our son was being transferred to a high security mental facility. He was released after a week, given medication, and had an appointment the following week to see a psychiatrist. Our son did not like the psychiatrist, so after 3 visits, we found him a new one. Our son was doing well, but his medication was not working. He said he could not sleep and complained that people were following him. His medication was changed several times. One Sunday, we took our son and his new girlfriend to see a close friend for the weekend. We had not met this girlfriend, but he had told us much about her and that she was much older than him. He said, "Mom, when you meet her, she looks very much older and rougher on the edges." I gave her a hug and said, I gave her a hug and said that our son makes him happy. She makes us happy. He was in good spirits and we hugged. His birthday was that following Tuesday, and I asked him what he would like to do to celebrate it. He said, "Nothing, as you and Mom has done so much already." I said we would like to do something next weekend, and that was the last time I saw him. Dad saw our son on his birthday when he took his medication, and he said that he was happy. The next day, Dad received a phone call on his way home from work from a friend of our son. He was worried that our son was not answering his phone. Dad went to our son's unit, and the girlfriend was not home. No one was home. Every time over the years that we could not contact our son, we would ring the hospital police. We had to hear it over the phone that our son died in the hospital. The news no parents wants to hear. Our son was found hanging in the tree outside of his girlfriend's home. He had been drinking. A passerby found him and called the ambulance, who unsuccessfully tried to revive him. It is 8 months since our son died, and we are still waiting for the police and coroner's report. Our son had a habit of not taking his medication and then drinking. He had been told many times by doctors and psychiatrists and us and friends that he should not do this. He would just say, "I know what I'm doing. I am 32 years old." On cleaning our son's unit, we found many clues. Police reports that he had admitted to the hospital for cutting his wrists, fights with police, all in the first 12 months before his first suicide attempt. As our son was an adult and very good at hiding his mask to the hospital's health professionals and family, the doctors or psychiatrists to discuss his admission never contacted us. The mental health system failed our son. He was misdiagnosed. We are not alone in trying to help our son the best we could, not knowing about mental illness. Our son could have, our son should have been kept under observation in a mental hospital under facilities to see if medication was suitable and if there are any side effects. I believe the medication he was on gave him suicidal tendencies, as this was one of the side effects mentioned when reading the warning label. Our son never mentioned this, only that he could not sleep at night and slept all day. In his last 6 months, our son was not well enough to even work with us. We will never know why our son wanted to end his life, as his conversation with the health professionals and psychiatrists are confidential. If we had been informed, we could have understood better. He is our son, and we have lost friends, as suicide is a stigma. I am pleased to find we have found a company called White Wreath, as we thought we were not alone, and has helped me realize we are not. Reading stories on the website, the similarities stand out. Change needs to be made to the mental health system. So, yeah, that's just one of many.
Oh yeah. There was a story I heard about I think it was 12 or 13-year-old little kid who um committed suicide during quarantine. Um and that was awful. I know I have there's a family that I know of that the youngest kid in the family was 12, I think, at the time, who and he tried to hang himself. Um I mean, it doesn't matter your age, or your sexual orientation. Suicide and depression can be all over. I remember when I think I was 12 or 13. I went to the bathroom at one point because I was crying and was super upset, and had taken out a bottle of ibuprofen, um, and was considering ending it all, basically. But I didn't.
Well, thankfully, it was ibuprofen. You just got a really bad stomach ache.
Not if I took the whole bottle.
No,
Like,
I don't think ibuprofen would have done
I don't know.
that. So either way,
Maybe it was aspirin. I don't know. It was a bottle of some kind of pain reliever. But I thought that it would make me bleed internally. And then I was like, well, if I do this and I, do die, I just kept thinking about my mom, because she would have just lost it.
yeah,
Um, and so I couldn't do that to her. And so I didn't. But I probably was depressed at the time because of the situation that I was in, but um, it was an interesting situation because legally, the legal system had determined that that was the best place for me, when probably mentally, in all actuality, it wasn't. But when you're a kid and you're just being told, this is the best place for you, this is what you have to deal with now,
yeah.
you know,
It's
just watch your loved ones.
yeah. It's tough.
Hmm.
You know, um, there's so many times when, especially like teenagers,
Right.
oh, they're just being a teenager, or oh, there's nothing to worry about, or whatever the case might be,
Hormones.
or just
Yeah.
hormones, yeah. And those are like some of the biggest contributing factors.
Hmm.
I mean, especially nowadays, when like bullying can be done 24/7.
Right.
Back in our day,
Sorry.
um, but I mean, when I say it like that, I mean, I say it with the utmost regard because it was the 90s. It wasn't that long ago,
Right.
where it couldn't happen. I mean, it couldn't happen the way it did. I mean, it was
Yeah.
90s for me, early 2000s for you.
Right.
But, social media wasn't around back then. Yeah, we had AOL and Instant Messenger, but it was on dial up, 56K modem and blah, 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 blah,
Hmm.
blah. So, I mean, it wasn't used as much.
Right.
Um, but, so, I mean, now, memes are made constantly, making fun of somebody, um, text messaging, with even Facebook Messenger, it just pops up on your phone, and it's there's a constant barrage of that kind of stuff, and teenagers are the most susceptible to it, and that's scary because this thing right here that's sitting in front of me
Hmm.
could mean the death of your child.
Yep.
This right here could mean the death of your child. You know, um, and that is scary as shit. Um, I'm gonna read another one here called "A Mother's Story." I lost an identical twin. I was left to raise 6 children 40 years ago or so. We were a loving family regardless of circumstances. There are 5 boys and 1 girl, with one set of twins amongst us. Larry and William were identical and uh, felt that what others felt went down was they were. Wait, hold on. This is worded weirdly. Larry and William were identical and felt that the other felt. Oh, even down what they wore, so they could feel each other. Okay, that's what it was saying. That they felt everything about each other. Okay, just worded weirdly. There was the youngest twin, also the youngest boy. In some respects, we could not have chosen a more appropriate name, as he turned out to be the lovable Larkin. No matter where went, people remembered him. When he got older, he joined his twin, the Australian Navy, and they both did well. In their 20s, they both met loving girls, whom they later married. William and his wife went on to have 2 boys, and Larry, on the other hand, did not have any children. He adored his nephews and nieces. We often had get-togethers to celebrate something or another, and Larry was always the life of the party. The last few times of our family gatherings, I noticed Larry sitting alone, so I asked if everything was okay. His reply was always, "I'm just fine, I'm just tired. I am fine, I'm just tired." I thought nothing more of it. Larry had started up a dog cleaning business and seemed to be enjoying it. I never heard from him. This lady cannot write. I never heard from him for a while, and then one night he rang and said he was coming to see me. He didn't come, and I still did not worry because that was the way the family was. We would say we were coming over, but never did. I was involved with quite a lot of charity work, volunteering for 3 charities, and always on the go at all times. One of the charities I volunteered for the president was told by a mother that he had committed suicide. Evidently, she had been suffering mental illness for some time. The day of her funeral, when I was getting ready to go, my phone rang. William, the older twin, rang to tell me that my younger son Larry was dead. I said, "What happened? Was Larry in an accident?" And then William started to cry and said, "No, he committed suicide." I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. Bill said he would get back to me. Needless to say, I did not go to that funeral. I spent the day with friends waiting to hear more information. You were probably wondering why I didn't go with the rest of the family, but there had been many family upsets and we were not on talking terms. I was totally alone. The funeral was arranged with a viewing, and a friend took me, and I saw Larry for the first time in 15 months. My family was very distant to me. The very next day, I was a viewing of Larry, and it was then I found out he had taken his life by carbon monoxide poisoning. He and his twin just celebrated their 41st birthday. The rest of the family placed the funeral notice in the papers, but there was no mention of me, his mother. But there was a piece stating, "We will always love you. Your soon to be born daughter, Tegan," signed Rebecca. So he was actually getting ready to have a son. Or daughter, I'm sorry. If you remember, I had said Larry had no children, even though he loved children very much. It seemed as though that he was being blamed for this. I started to put two and two together and realize what had happened. Larry did not leave a letter to his wife, and he told her he loved her very much, and also the rest of the family. When he used to sit down on his own at those few last parties, he was going through a depressing time and no doubt backed himself into a corner. Being disturbed, he not only did not think properly, but he just wanted to ease his pain. The saddest thing is this little girl will be forever left without a father. If only Larry had somewhere to go, someone to talk with, this tragedy may have been avoided. Um, so it sounds to me like, and she didn't go into much detail, and it's worded very weirdly. Um, Sounded like they were trying to have a kid and they couldn't, and he was being
Right.
blamed for it, and then he just eventually took his life, and then the wife found out that she was pregnant.
She was pregnant. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, that's one of the things about suicide that's I think hard to talk about as well is that that person who commits suicide to take away their pain is may take away their pain, but they're really just passing it along to the people who do love and care about them. You can be the loneliest person in the world even and think that you have nobody that cares about you. Because sometimes depression makes you think that, or other mental illnesses may make you think that. But um, in reality, you still have people who care about you and love you. I mean, my my brother and sister, we have a different dad, and their biological father committed suicide when they were very young, and that's something that they have to carry with them their whole life. And he didn't leave a letter. He didn't, and I mean, there were things that happened before that they knew that he was at a potential for. Like, he was in the hospital when he did it. He was supposed to be on suicide watch, and they left him alone. And so, I mean, they were failed in that way. And this was back in the 80s, but um, it just passes the pain on to your family members or to your friends even.
it really does. I mean, especially in a situation like the one I just read.
Hmm.
Um, you know, just when you think the world is crashing down all around you, there could be hope right around the corner.
Right.
Um, we don't know. We only know the mom's point of view, and he hadn't been. They really hadn't talked much or spoken in 15 months prior to his suicide.
Right.
Um, but the thing about it is, we don't know what the wife had said to him. We don't
Right.
know what had transpired between those two um, during that 15-month time period. It could have been, extremely rough. I mean, we don't know. Um, or for all we know, he was told he was sterile and thought his life was over, or and then found out he was. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's yeah, it's just sad,
It is.
especially in a situation like that could have potentially been, could have potentially, been prevented. that situation could have definitely been prevented.
Mm-hmm.
It just sounds like, the family was very disconnected overall. The mother and father weren't together. He was off doing his own thing. I mean, there was so many contributing factors to that story. The other one was, the one I read first was, and by the way, these are stories from Australia. Um,
Oh.
they're not, and the reason why I read that, reading these stories from Australia, is because I wanted to show this is not a national problem. This is a world problem,
Yeah.
and even countries like Australia,
Mm-hmm.
you know, have horrible mental health care. This is the problems with mental health care, period, across
Mm-hmm.
the board, are
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Yeah.
You know, um, you know, and that is sad. But like, because the stigma around it is still so negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I get flack on Suck It because I talk about my suicide attempts too much. Um, well, two things with that. Number one, not every guest that I talk to knows my backstory.
Right.
So I have to make sure, if I'm talking about it, I have to fill them in on why I talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
But then number two, with the numbers that are in this country,
Mm-hmm.
across the world,
Mm-hmm.
can you ever talk about this too much?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
The suicide statistics in this country alone are frightening.
Mm-hmm.
I've shared him on this before, on the show before, but I'm gonna go ahead and share him again now.
Do you know anyone who's ever tried to commit suicide?
Other than myself,
Yeah.
yes.
They succeed or no?
Um, the ones that I knew about, didn't even seem like there was anything wrong.
Mm.
All right, so this is what I got, and this is from the National Institute of Mental Health.
Mm-hmm.
All right, according to the CDC, the leading causes of death reports, suicide was the 10th leading cause of death overall in the United States, claiming the lives of 48,000 people. Suicide was the second leading cause of death among individuals 10 to 34. Let me read that again. Suicide was the second leading cause of death between individuals ages 10 to 34. 10 to fucking 34.
Yep.
The second leading cause of death in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And there were more than 2.5 times as many suicides in the United States as there were homicides. 18,000 homicides, 48,000 suicides.
Mm-hmm.
That is
Right.
That is a ghastly number.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we not talking about this more? Why are we not seeing commercials on our TV? Or why am I not, especially with everything I hashtag and everything I Google on my computer or in my phone, why is Facebook or Google not tracking that to send me ads during this time of month?
Right.
Why is this being ignored? Hey, Gabriel, how are you? As much as it is, why am I not seeing more ads for National Suicide Prevention? Why am I not seeing ads for the Lifeline? Why is it taking me and you having to do an episode on this to be able to talk about the phone numbers? Whether it's the Prevention Lifeline or the LGBTQ Trevor Project. Why? 48,000 suicides, 18,000 homicides. The number 2 leading cause of death between 10 and 34 years of age in this country. Mm-hmm. And yet nobody wants to fucking do a damn thing about it.
There are a lot of answers for that.
Give me one. Give me one good answer on why it's not talked about. Give me one good
The
answer about why we're having this conversation in the way we're having it.
I believe like the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, and places like the Trevor Project, um, they're organizations that are not for profits and they're not government funded. They're not. I don't know. I honestly don't know if the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is government funded or not. I know that the Trevor Project is not. Um,
Yeah, no, they're not.
it's yeah. So it's they're limited on resources, but the government should throw resources more at mental health and suicide prevention, which I think honestly is maybe part of the goal of the whole. I'm not trying to like be political here, but it was one of the goals of defund the police. It's not really to defund the police; it's just to take some of the resources that the police have and put them towards um, caseworkers, basically, so that like we don't have to call the police if there's a drunk guy, out on the street. They can just put him in a treatment facility so that he can get sober that night instead of throwing him in jail. Or if there's someone who's, threatening to commit suicide, they can send a caseworker out there and they don't have to call the police. That was part of the goal, I believe, was to allow for more resources to be put forth towards. Yeah. And Gabriel, you're right. They can't monetize it. You can't make money off of it. War is such a prevalent thing because they could still make money off of it. There are many people and many things that say that, countries, entire economies are built on war and they can make money off of it, but you can't make money off suicide. You're muted.
All right, so ages 10 to 14, the number one leading cause of death in ages 10 to 14 in this country is unintentional injury. So accidents, falling, whatever the case might be. That's 692 dead of unintentional injury. Number two is suicide at 596. 596 people ages 10 to 14 committed suicide. Now, this is where it gets alarming. Going from 15 to 24, it jumps up to 6,211. That's 1,000% increase. And with the difference of 1 year.
Yep.
10 to 14, 596. But even that number is astounding. That is ridiculous. 596 children.
Mm-hmm. They're babies still.
And then 15 to 24, 6,211 suicides. And age 25 to 34, 8,020. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute insanity.
It is.
And yet
Nothing. They get
nothing. Nobody is making a strong case for this in any level.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get it. I don't get it. Why in 2020 are we still having this discussion about not having a discussion?
Well, another part of it, I think, that I just realized is, when people get physically ill or when people like break a bone at work or things like that, they usually have jobs that can either pay them or pay insurance, which in turn, pay doctors and things like that. And if you go to the doctor and you have a job, you get taken care of, essentially, for the most part. Not always, obviously, but for the most part. And if you have a job that has insurance, you definitely get taken care of because you have insurance and you're already paid for it, basically.
But you don't.
Huh?
You don't.
Sometimes, okay, but more so than someone who has a mental health problem and can't hold a job, like the guy in your first story, because he has a mental health problem. He has no insurance because he can't hold a job. And you can only get insurance through your parents up to like 24, and that's only if you're going to school.
Well, actually, I mean that story that I read originally was Australia, and they have socialized healthcare.
Okay, so he got healthcare, but here in America,
Wait, they wouldn't.
so okay, so let's take that under consideration. So even if they have socialized healthcare,
At least in Australia.
right, or in Canada,
I don't have those numbers. I can look them up, but I don't have those numbers.
right. So are their suicide rates less than ours?
We'd have to look at percentages, not actual numbers, because they have less of a population than us.
Right.
Let's see. Canadian suicide statistics.
Because I mean, if they have a significantly less rate per capita than we do, then that could be.
Okay. So according to this, the latest data available estimates in Canada 4,157 suicides, making it the 9th leading cause of death.
Between what age?
It just says overall.
So in America overall, it is the over all the ways that people can die between like birth to death. It's the 10th leading cause overall.
Yeah, on average, there's 4,000 suicides per year.
And what was America's?
It was 48,000. So let's hold on. Let's let me do the math.
All right. So what's the population of Canada? And the population of the United States is 328.2 million.
All right, so Canada is at 38 million.
Okay, so what's 38 divided by 4,000? 38 million divided by 4,000. That might be, you might have to do it the other way around.
Oh yeah, duh.
Sorry.
That's fine. I knew it, and you messed me up.
I know. Well, when I say it out loud, I picture it differently than what I'm actually saying, and
All right,
this is why I can't do math.
0.1%.
Mm-hmm.
No, 0.01% is suicide in Canada. 0.01%.
Percent or 0.01 is the answer, and therefore it is 1%.
No. It's 0.0001.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's 0.01%. Now here in America, what was the population here in America again?
380 or 328.2 million.
Divided by what did I say, 48,000? Oh crap! I did it again.
Yeah, sure, that sounds right.
All right, so it's the same.
Yeah, it's 48,000.
It's the same.
It's the same?
It's the same.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's the same.
So, but when I was looking up statistics on suicide earlier, it says that the leading, so like when it's at number 10, it said 0.08%, I think. So how, I wonder how that works.
Hold on, let me see here real quick. Let me do this real quick. World suicide statistics. There we go. Let's do that. Oh, I can break it up by country too. By country. There we go. This might be a better
Who
one.
has it?
All right. So this is per 100,000. Okay. Suicide rates per 100,000. All right. So looks like America and Canada are about equal.
How about Australia?
Russia, Australia is 17.4 suicides per 100,000. America
Higher or
is,
lower?
what do you mean higher or lower?
Is that higher or lower than us or
It's
Canada?
lower. It's lower than us.
Lower. Okay.
Yeah, they're 17.4 and we are 21.1.
Hmm.
Canada is 15.1.
Hmm.
Sweden, who has excellent socialized healthcare, they're one of the healthiest countries in the world, is still at a 15.8. Um,
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Considered like one of the happiest countries in the world. That's weird.
Exactly. So now here's something that I'm finding quite interesting.
Hmm.
Islamic countries,
Hmm.
Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, have some of the lowest suicide rates in the world. Saudi Arabia is at 4.6 per 100,000.
Wow.
Iran is at 4.9 per 100,000. Iraq is at 4.7 per 100,000.
What's Japan at? Is Japan on there maybe? Or China?
Yeah. Japan is at 20.5.
Is that high, low?
20.5 is pretty high.
Really?
I mean, that's right at where we're at, which is 21.1.
Huh.
China is actually at 7.9.
Per 100,000?
Yep.
Really? I would have thought China would have been higher than Japan.
No.
That's insane.
So according to this, now I mean I haven't hovered over every single one yet.
Hmm.
South Africa is more than us. We're at 21.1. South Africa's at 21.7.
That could make sense, yeah.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting.
Hmm.
You know who leads suicide in this world, in the country, in the world?
Let me think. Could it be Russia?
You are 100% correct.
Oh, look at me go.
48.3 suicide deaths per 100,000.
I probably shouldn't have been as happy about that as I was.
No, that's more than twice as many suicides in Russia compared to here.
How is North Korea probably wouldn't be on there. How is
Um,
hold on.
South Korea's on here, 14.8.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's see. What about
I can't zoom in to find out.
I
Oh
want like
wait, no. I'm sorry.
what?
No, that is no wait. I can't tell. Oh, North Korea is 29.6.
29.6.
Yeah, so that's still high.
Not Cuba.
Cuba, 16.4.
What about Egypt?
I'm sorry, about where?
Egypt?
7.2.
These are very interesting.
It is. Um,
Do you have another country in Africa that you can look at?
so like the Republic of Congo, 15 per 100,000. Chad is 17.1 per 100,000. Nigeria is 17.5 per 100,000.
It's so
Ethiopia,
lower than us.
one of the poorest countries in the world,
Hmm.
is at an 18.7. Kenya, 9.7.
Kenya's doing all right.
Um,
The lowest.
Mozambique, 14. Algeria, 4.9. Libya, 8.7.
So who has the lowest overall?
According to everything I've seen, it looks like Saudi Arabia.
That's pretty cool. Good for them.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia has the lowest at 4.6.
Hmm.
Nope, I take that back. I take that back. It's Morocco at 2.5 at 2.5.
Yeah, I'd be all right in Morocco too.
Yeah, Morocco's 2.5. I just found that.
Right.
But that is astonishing.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to pull up this website and I want to show it to you. That I'm looking at
Okay.
because the numbers are just
All over the board.
crazy.
Right.
There it is. All right, so this is what I'm looking at. These are the graphs. These are the
You
countries.
gotta get rid of the frames.
Oh, my bad. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So, let me go back to it. So, just hovering over it tells you what it is. So, like I said, Iran's at a.
Can you zoom in?
I'll just go ahead and take us off the screen completely. That's about
You
as
still
much.
gotta zoom in. I can't see nothing. I'm blind.
No, there's nothing more. I can't zoom in anymore.
Are you sure? What about on your
Well, that didn't.
what do you call that? No, what about on your browser?
Oh,
Yeah.
There we go.
No, you bet your browser. Because I want to see the numbers to the right, is what I was trying to do. There you go. Okay.
All
Now
right.
scroll. Yeah. Sorry. Now I'm gonna make it all difficult. My bad.
Okay, so
So this is for whatever country that was up there.
which one? No, this is that. Those are overall graphs. These down
Oh,
here,
okay.
yeah. So, like I said, Morocco's at a 2.5.
Mm.
Spain's at a 9.3.
Hmm.
Jordan's at a 4.7. 4.6 for Saudi Arabia. Oman, 4.8. Emirates. Oh, I'm sorry. Emirates is actually at 3.5. So look at that. Pakistan's at a 3.0.
That's so interesting to me that like, because isn't that? I mean, please forgive my ignorance. Okay, I really don't know a whole lot about the countries in the Middle East. You can thank probably U.S. education for that. Okay, but isn't that a part? I mean, isn't that the extremists that are a part of those religions? Isn't that one of the things that like they hold at a high value? Isn't it like considered?
Well, absolutely, but the same thing with Catholics and Christians. You know, they hold that at a very high value. If you die, if you commit suicide, you're going to hell.
No, yeah, right.
So there's no difference as far as the religious factor goes.
No. But like in what is religion? What is the religion? I can't remember the name of it.
Muslim,
Is it Muslim? Is that
Muslim or Islam, yeah.
okay? So in those religions, though, they say if you commit suicide, I would assume it's probably, however, if you commit suicide for a good cause, whatever they deem to be a good
Well,
cause.
no, that's
You
actually a
would get-
falsehood. That's actually a falsehood.
Okay, see,
That's what the extremists tell you, but you know, because you'll get if you die for whatever reason, you go to heaven for 72 virgins or whatever, you know.
yeah,
But that's not
religion.
that's not real. That's not a real thing that happens. If you go back and look through the Quran, that's not actually something that actually is real. That's just something that they tell you.
So, but is that actually something that people who are on the extreme part of that religion are told, or is that what we're told?
Yes and yes, they're both.
Okay.
That they're dying for a good cause.
And so
To,
therefore
you know,
they get to go to heaven with a bunch of virgins.
Correct, yeah, but but the thing about it is, it's one of those things that, that again, that's just the extremist. That's not a real thing. That's not a real part of the Muslim, Muslims are all about peace and reality.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, no, they're a very peaceful, religion. So no.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, and I know that for any religion, there's always people that are about like one part of the religion, and then there's people who are on the extreme part of the religion.
Oh,
Take it
absolutely.
way too literally 90% of the time.
Yeah, there's definitely a religious factor.
Right. I just realized it's 1:08. I have to go make sure that my daughter got on her thing because I'm sure she didn't.
I think this is something that we need to carry on until next week as well.
I concur. I mean, it'll be in September, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this is definitely not a one episode conversation. I'll come back next week with more statistics. And we'll even go, because we talked about this. We'll go suicide rates in socialized medicine countries versus privatized medicine countries. We'll go off of religious factors. Yeah, I'm going to come up with a whole chart on this.
All right, cool.
Today was just about to highlight. I know. Just hold on one second. Today was just about to highlight the numbers and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Next week I'll come back and I'm going to come back with some detailed stuff. But I definitely, again, National Suicide Prevention Hotlines right there. 1-800-273-8255. Or for the LGBTQ, 1-866-488-7386 for the Trevor Project. Yep. This is a very important topic that we're going to be talking about the rest of the month. But next week we'll go in more details about religious factors and so on and so forth. So, guys, I appreciate you. I love you guys. Until next week, have a great day. Come back 12 p.m. East, 9 a.m. West for the Mental Health Hour next week. Or come back and join me tonight for Suck It Podcast, where my guest is Sage Suede, who just released a new album. But until then, we love you. Stay healthy. Stay happy. Oh, wait. Cat's back. All right. You back?
Sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't do that.
That's okay. But we'll go over all that stuff next week, and we appreciate it. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.